In this video, we will begin with Unit 5, Balance of Payments. This chapter or unit is just for 6 marks. Insofar all the units, we had been discussing a closed economy in which we had only two players, the firms and the households. The firms would produce goods and services which would be utilized by the households, and the firms would provide opportunity for employment, or rather let's say the households would provide their factors of production for which they would receive their factor payments. So in this case, there is no role of any external sector, the rest of the world. We had no connection with the rest of the world, and the government's role also was limited. However, when we introduce the foreign sector into the economy becomes an open economy. In this case, the goods and services not only move between the firms and the households, but to the outside world. The movement of goods and services to the rest of the world is called export, and the movement of goods and services from the foreign sector to the domestic country is called as imports. Similarly, the financial assets also move in and out of the domestic country. There are three ways in which these linkages can be established with the outside world. The first one is called the output market, in which an economy can trade in goods and services with the other countries. The domestic country may sell goods to the rest of the world and also buy goods from the rest of the world, calling imports, exports and imports. The second one is the financial market. Here, the economy can buy financial assets from other countries, which would give an opportunity to choose between domestic and foreign asset. And capital from foreign countries may flow into the domestic country, or the domestic country may be exporting capital to foreign countries. So this is called as capital flow. Now the third one is the labor market. The firms can choose where to locate production and workers to choose where to work. So the opportunity or option is given to both. The firms can choose whether they can have a plant within the domestic country or in the foreign country, or the workers can also choose whether to work in the domestic country or to the foreign country. So this movement is called the movement of labor. However, we will restrict our discussion only to the output market and the financial market. Now, when we talk of movement of goods and services from the domestic market or domestic country to the foreign sector, we are actually talking about foreign trade. Now, when Indians buy foreign goods, that is, they spend some money which is called as importing, then the currency flows outside the country, which is called leakage. And that means this money is going outside the circular flow of economy. Then, if we sell our goods to the foreign sector, which is called exports, we earn in terms of foreign currency. This is called as injection. Injection. So injection increases money supply into the economy, isn't it? So that means there will be increase in aggregate demand. The moment the money supply increases, the aggregate demand in the country also increases. Now, since the currency of the domestic economy and the foreign sector is different, how is this handled? This is handled by the International Monetary System to ensure stability in the international transactions. This price of one currency in terms of another currency is known as foreign exchange. It is known as foreign exchange rate or simply an exchange rate. Now, where are all these transactions recorded? These transactions are recorded as balance of payments. We write BOP for balance of payments. So what is balance of payments? It is the statement of accounts of a country's inflows and outflows of foreign exchange in a fiscal year. That is, during a financial year, how much of the currency has flown into the country as exports and how much has gone out of the country as imports. Now it has two main accounts. One called current account, which records all transactions in goods and services. All transactions or trade in goods and services. The other is called the capital account, which records all international transactions of assets like money, stocks, bonds, etc. Now there is a third element of the balance of payment called the errors and omissions, which records all those transactions that are not recorded in the above columns, that is, which is not recorded in the current account and capital account. These are recorded in the errors and omissions column. Now, since we are calling the balance of payments a statement of accounts, it will have two columns, the credit side and the debit side. The credit side includes all those inflows of foreign exchange. What does this mean? This means that all the receipts on account of export of goods and services, then foreign investments. When you export goods and services, you earn money. So it brings income into the country. Hence, all these transactions will be recorded with a positive sign. Foreign investments bring money into the country. A foreign company is investing in the domestic territory. Then factor incomes earned. That means if a person is working for somebody, some company outside our country, he earns an income. So it brings in the foreign income or foreign currency into the country. Hence it is a credit. Then loans and grants from abroad. If we take loan from any financial institution, then we are bringing in foreign currency. So it will be recorded on the credit side. The debit side, on the other hand, records all the outflow of foreign exchange, which will be denoted by a negative sign. Why? The imports of goods and services mean that we pay our domestic currency to the rest of the world or to the foreign sector. So the money goes out of the country or economy. Hence, it will be represented by a negative sign, and this is an outflow of currency or foreign exchange. Similarly, purchase of financial assets. When you buy something, you pay for it. So here we are paying to somebody else outside the economy. Hence, the money goes out and will be represented by a negative sign on the debit side of the balance of payments account. Now, if the credit side exceeds the debit side, that means all the transactions on the credit side are greater than that on the debit side, then we call it surplus. In case the debit side is greater than the credit side, then it will be called as deficit. Let us now learn about the different accounts separately. That reminds me, before going into the accounts, I would like to add another line about this foreign investment. The foreign investments definitely lead to inflow of foreign exchange, and that is the reason they are recorded on the credit side of the balance of payments. But foreign investments can be FDI, foreign direct investments, which we must have heard of, FDI, or portfolio investment. The difference between them is that FDI involves foreign investors taking a control and a lasting stake in the productive enterprises. That means they have their investments in the country and they take direct control of it. They are responsible for the investment, management, earn profits, everything within the domestic territory. But the portfolio investment, it only represents holdings of the equity, minor equity. They don't manage it. They only invest in the country and earn profits. The management and the other activities are taken up by the domestic investors or players. So that's the difference between FDI and portfolio investments. Okay. So FDI means they invest, they manage their accounts, as well as they also take away their profits. But portfolio investments are those investments wherein they are interested only in earning a profit. The management and other activities are taken care of in the domestic territory of the country by the people living in the domestic country or area.